Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Now, here's the deal. I am the criminal lawyer that reacts, right? Well, we filmed a Bryan Kohberger reaction last week, anticipating a trial. But news this week is that he's going to take a deal tomorrow. So here's the deal. I'm doing a little intro to the next video because this video contemplates a trial. We already filmed it, but it goes through the evidence. I want you to watch it because it'll give you an informed view as to why he decided that the walls were closing in on him. You know, the judge denied his defense of alternative perpetrator. So he didn't really have much, if any, defense to this case. It was damn good police work. So watch this video, and it's a little bit longer. So make sure you get your bottle of wine, because I know most of my fans are snooty white wine drinkers. Actually, not really. And your popcorn. Get it so you don't have to go anywhere. You know, pee beforehand so you don't have to get up and interrupt your deal. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But, you know, and much has been made about that the families aren't getting justice. You know what? This is a plea bargain. This is what happens in the criminal world. The fact that he's not getting the death penalty is not that big a deal, honestly, people. I mean, you know, saving these families the torment of a fucking trial. You know, I mean, having them to go through a trial and hear the details of the injuries to their loved ones, seeing the autopsy photos, going through that whole scene, in my opinion, is they save themselves a little something. There's always this knee-jerk reaction to get an eye for an eye, right? But at least they have closure. He's pleading guilty. He's admitting it. But when they do the plea, there's two things that they do. They do the waiver of your rights, and then they have to lay a factual basis. So he's going to have to admit that he killed all 4 of those students. So watch this video. This kind of highlights the evidence, and it informs you why he took a deal. I was surprised that they offered him a deal, but it's worth it because you save the families. You've got finality, you know, with a plea that you don't necessarily have with a trial, because then he could appeal it, and, you know, and if there's any irregularities, it's just all this uncertainty. This is certainty. And down the road, the families will be comforted knowing he's never going to see the light of fucking day. We don't want him on the street anyway. So watch this video. And as always, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. And you'll see something interesting about me and AskALawyer.com down the road a little bit, okay? We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Oh, we'll see you this time. We'll see you this time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Enjoy the video.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my 24-karat gold shark cufflinks today, because, you know, we get energy from the things around us, and when I put on my shark cufflinks, it's time to do business. We're going to react to Kohberger today. That's the case where he murdered these people in a totally inexplicable fashion, and just really what I think is going to ultimately wind up being just an exercise in, can I get away with it? That's what it sounds like, but I'm not sure. But let's dive into this. And before we do, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. AskALawyer.com has been a loyal sponsor of our channel for a long time because they're associated with eForm and eSign. So if you need a lawyer, or if you have a legal question, if you have a legal case you think you want to pursue, go to AskALawyer.com. For $49, you can get all the legal help you need from a living, breathing, heart-beating, God-fearing lawyer, you know, because we do have hearts too, you know. Yeah, we're human beings. We're not just these orbs without feelings or hearts. Go to AskALawyer.com. If you have a landlord-tenant dispute, if you have any kind of contract dispute, if you have any kind of legal question whatsoever, go to AskALawyer.com, and you can ask a live lawyer for $49. It's really valuable. And also, if you're doing your own case, you can go to AskALawyer.com, and they've got an AI component trained in all the 50 states. So go to AskALawyer.com, because if it's good enough for my grandma, it's good enough for you. All right, before we get to our reaction today, I don't know who's doing this, but somebody sent me all kinds of stuff. So they sent me this. Overruled. Counsel, contain yourself. Anyway, so somebody sent me that. Somebody sent me a St. Michael bracelet, which was very nice. And this candle. I mean, I don't know who sent it. There's no card. There's no nothing. Thank you. It's tough when you guys send stuff about Michael because, he was our content genius and I miss him terribly. But it's all really appreciated. I got just a ton of stuff that you guys have sent in and makes me feel better. And you guys are just the way you guys show love and I really appreciate it. Okay, so do you remember the Kohberger thing? Maybe what you should, this is going to be a little bit longer episode, so maybe take a second right here. Put me on pause. Go get a glass of wine. Get your microwave popcorn out, and I'll give you 2 seconds to go do that. Are you back? Okay. Now that you got your wine and your popcorn, do you remember God, this has been 3 years now. In 2022, November 13th, a masked man entered an off-campus home near the University of Idaho, stabbing 4 college students. They all died from their wounds. And here's the thing. The other people that were left in the home saw the person that did this, supposedly, can't really identify him, and took 8 hours to call the cops. That's a strange fact that we'll dive into a little bit later. So here's the affidavit. On November 13th, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, Sergeant Blaker responded to 1122 King Road to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene with 4 homicides, quadruple homicide. Rarely that you see double homicide, let alone quadruple homicide. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police team was on scene preparing to begin processing the scene. Officer Smith and I entered the residence through the bottom floor on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, where I later learned through Zaina's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room that Zaina Kernodle's, hereinafter Kernodle, room, that was her room. Just before this room, there was a bedroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon, in other words, knife wounds. Also, in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereinafter described as Chapin. Chapin was also killed with stab wounds. He then followed Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Goncalves. Officer Smith pointed out a small bedroom on the east side of the third floor. This bedroom shared the wall with Madison Imogen's, hereinafter Imogen. As he entered the bedroom, he could see 2 females in a single bedroom. Both Kaylee and Madison were deceased with visible stab wounds. He also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Madison's right side. That's going to be the most important piece of evidence in this case, because without that, they don't really have a direct link to Kohberger. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar USMC and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab located a single-source DNA male profile on the left button of the knife sheath. And that DNA matched Bryan Kohberger. Now, he's supposed to be a PhD student in criminology. Bryan, you fucked up. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM were inside the King residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the floor of the King residence. Now, I know this is kind of tedious and we're kind of going through this, But this is important because this is the basis for the whole case. So stick with me on this, okay? Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents as well review the evidence. And he's learned the following. So this is basically the affidavit to support the case. On the evening of November 12th, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi House on University of Idaho campus at 7:35, well, whatever. On November 13th, BF estimated that at approximately 1:45, Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live at the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle's. Goncalves and Mojan were at the bar, so Kaylee and Madison were at the bar, the Corner Club at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. They can be seen on video footage provided by Corner Club Bar, so they're live on November 12th at 1:30 a.m. Remember, nothing good happens after midnight. At approximately 1:30 a.m., both can be seen on video at the local food vendor called Grub Truck. So once you get done drinking at bar close, guess where you go? You got to get some food, right? God damn it. I'm telling you, this is just an old playbook. The Grub Truck live stream video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like app.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is, we'll actually...
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome.
Don's mom. Oh, wait.
A private party, whited out, reported that he provided a ride to both of them at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub food truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home at 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms by 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Fucking A. You know, this 4 a.m. shit has got to stop. You know, go to sleep around midnight. You know, you want to stay up till 1, fine. But nothing good happens at 4 o'clock, except for a good argument. I mean, don't do that. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at 4 a.m. Who the fuck has that much hunger at 4 a.m.? Except for a drunk, college kid, I guess. God, I need my sleep. Okay, I need my sleep. I even in my 20s, I never stayed out all night. I fucking hate it. Never went to an after party. Don't like after parties. Don't like staying up till 4 o'clock. So don't ask me to stay up till 4 o'clock. Okay, ladies? Okay. DM, sorry for the tirade. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Keep all these little details in mind. DM stated that she was awakened at 4 a.m. by what sounded like concalves. I don't know how you pronounce her name. Playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of the records obtained from forensic downloads of Kernodle's phone show this could have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake using TikTok at approximately 4:12 a.m. She should be sleeping. I got rid of TikTok. And the reason I got rid of TikTok is I was just wasting and just fucking, this is all I do. I mean, it's so addictive, right? DM stated that she looked out of her bedroom window, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated that she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice saying something to the effect, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." How fucking chilling is that? At 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or whisper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can be heard barking numerous times at 4:17. Guess what? That is going to be a mark of maybe potential cause of death, or time of death. The security camera is less than 50 feet away from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. DM stated that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose, walking toward her. Holy fuck. DM described the figure 5'10" or taller male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the black sliding glass door. DM locked herself in the room. After seeing the male, DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer had left the scene. Now, I know this is tedious, but this is important. This gives you a real flavor for what the basis of this whole investigation and case is about. So you've got people being murdered, dog barking. You got somebody seeing the perpetrator and frozen. That happens a lot with people. I remember my grandma telling me she got put up against a wall when she was a teenager. And she said she couldn't fight. She just was paralyzed with fear. That can happen. So the combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phones, and a video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. Boom, boom, boom. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino acid black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans shoe type. They have these all cataloged, that? Like shoes and shoe prints. And based upon how a shoe has been worn, they're almost like fingerprints. And they found this just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as video canvas, was conducted in the area of King Road. With the advent of the Ring door cams and all the, Alexa apps and all that kind of stuff, there's so much out there now. This video canvas was done to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 in the area of King Road residents and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate a suspect or suspect's vehicle traveling or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicates that a white sedan, hereinafter suspect vehicle number 1, was observed traveling westbound on the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow. Now, why is that significant? Why? So what? So a white sedan's on the road, so what? Well, this is Idaho, first of all. Moscow, Idaho, second of all. Small community. And how many cars are on the fucking road at 4 a.m.? Not many. Okay, so now we have various parties here, right? We have Kaylee, Madison, Zaina, Bethany, and Dylan, right? And we have 4 people who are fucking dead. Now, this is a known party house. The residence was a known party house to university students due to it being, a sorority, or fraternity, whatever it was. And there was these places are, high traffic areas, people coming and going all the time. I was never in a fraternity. My brother was. And, they wound up closing his fraternity down because it was too much like Animal House. But if you know anything about the Greek, it is, they're loud places. They're, a lot of activity, and people don't like to fucking sleep. I don't know why people don't like to sleep. Why do you think I never had a roommate in college? Because they wouldn't sleep. I like to get sleep. Don't keep me up till 4 a.m. I don't fucking like it. You shouldn't either. Nothing good happens after fucking midnight. The doors should have been locked. The door should have been locked. There shouldn't have been any fucking DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever the fuck hub. I mean, go to sleep, get some good sleep, see you in the morning, let's go get fucked up tomorrow. Guess what? The 4 people now can't get fucked up anymore. All right, there was a noise complaint from 3 months before the killings. The girl in the video is victim Kaylee. So let's take a look.
I'm one of the people. Okay. You guys were going to a noise last night, sounds like. When you guys were having a party last night.
We weren't here last night.
Last night we didn't do anything. So Elena Shepherd that lives here.
Who's Elena Shepherd?
The person that was born for the noise last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one thing I will tell you is we didn't do anything last night.
No worries. Neighbors are calling in again saying the music's good. Okay. You guys.
When you're outside, don't you have some fucking gauge as to how you're being perceived by others? No, you don't. You know why? Because you're in your fucking early 20s. And you don't give a shit how you're perceived. You don't give a shit about the neighbors. Fuck them, you know? Oh, we're partying. Yeah, give me a break. This isn't the same house, is it? You sure? So this is a noise complaint from 3 months earlier. So this gives you some flavor of where they were living.
Huh. No stairs to the back deck. Interesting.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
And I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
You go to school?
Here's another way to fix that. Invite the neighbors over. Although if the neighbors are in their 70s, they say, oh, we love to party with you, but we were partying last night.
Yeah.
Okay. What year?
Senior.
Senior. Okay. So I'll tell you the same thing I told them. You probably know the drill, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, okay. So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, your music's too loud, you're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties, nothing against having people over who are overage to drink. Mm-hmm. But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue.
Yeah.
Noise ticket is up to 300.
Yeah, somewhere around 300, 400.
Okay, it's a pretty expensive ticket. I don't want to give that to you. Yeah. That being said, this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
I came home one day. Michael said, can I have a couple of people over during the football game or after the football game? And I was at a hockey game. I said, sure, how many people? Oh, 10, 12 people. So he put a blast on fucking Facebook. I come home, there's like 200 people in my basement. It smelled like sweat down in my basement, and I have a small basement. And then, so I'm like, okay, look at all these fucking kids here. The cops come. Oh, we're not doing anything. People running every place. Fucking A.
Everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300-some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
That's just so sad. That was Kaylee. That's one of the gals who was murdered that night. So remember in the affidavit we were talking about a white sedan. Now, and the reason that's important is because, generally speaking, there's no cars on the road around 4 a.m. or very few. So anybody that is on the road is going to stand out. So that's why when you're going home from the bar all shit-faced at 2 a.m. and you're the only one on the road, guess what? Fucking cop gets behind you and see you later. So just take an Uber. So they see the car at 3:29 a.m., right? And then multiple sightings of the car until 4:20. And now why is that important? Because that's around the time of death, right? And the sightings makes initial 3 passes by the subject's address at 1122 King Road. That's that white Elantra that's kind of going by the house that night. That very night, which is just chilling. The cops have some idea that this may be a vehicle that's involved, right? So the vehicle then can be seen again at 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When the suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn. So that's suspicious activity by this car. And this car was then seen again departing the King Road residence at 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. And here's the thing. Once you capture a vehicle like that, then you can kind of look at other cameras. Now, this is a smaller community, so you can do this in Minneapolis or any big city. They can track that car wherever the fuck it goes, honestly, especially North Minneapolis. There's cameras on every fucking street corner. And I had a case once where my client was a preacher who shot his ex-wife's lover. And holy crap, they had him leaving his house, going to this corner, crossing this bridge, going to that corner. You know, I just had even better footage in this last case that I had where the vehicle goes off the embankment and onto the interstate, you know, after the guy gets shot. Just kind of crazy. So from a recent development on the victims, Kernodle had ordered a DoorDash right before the murder. So remember that 4 a.m. DoorDash? And Brian's car was seen at 4 a.m. and Santa's food was being delivered at 4 a.m. So it's not the DoorDash. Here, let's play a little bit of this from Sidebar.
There is an unidentified woman, reportedly 43, 44 years old, that, according to News Nation, she's only referred to as MM in court documents, who claims she was the DoorDash driver that dropped off food for Xana at the home at 11:22.
So that is important because no one can say now that white car was the DoorDash driver.
King Road that night in Moscow, Idaho. It was reported that she had received a food delivery about 10 minutes before the killing, so right after 4 a.m. Now, why is this coming out? Well, it turns out there is a police body cam video that has been posted to the YouTube account Officer Axon. They apparently publish police videos through public records requests. And this is reportedly from September 2024, so you're talking about 2 years later, out in Pullman, Washington. Again, Kohberger was a PhD student studying criminology at Washington State University in Pullman.
Here's the thing. The cops had to really piece this together, and it didn't come together right away.
And this interaction with police centers around an alleged DUI stop. So it's not related to the killings. However, the woman in this video says in an interview room, as she's covered by a blanket, the following.
And now I have to testify. In front of his too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah. You have to testify in which murder?
So she gets pulled over for DUI, and it's discovered, oh, you're the biggest witness we've ever had in this county.
Murder case for college girl. Oh.
What a fucking honestly, pardon my French. I shouldn't say that. Hello? I'm incensed by this. Honestly. Why wouldn't this woman come forward? She knew full fucking well what went on. You know, I personally have a huge issue with people who don't come forward on very serious cases. I'm not a prosecution guy, all right? I'm a defense guy. And her information doesn't help the defense. In fact, it hurts the defense. But fuck. It's one of the most critical pieces of evidence that you could find.
Now, in case you couldn't hear what she says, she apparently says, I have to testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, so yeah. And the officer asks, which case? She responds, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Brian there. I parked right next to him.
I saw him. I parked right next to him.
First question I have is credibility. If she testifies, could this video be used against her?
Well, that's an interesting question because, normally when you're going to impeach a witness, that witness has to have something in their background that would.
I don't know how strong her identification of Kohberger is or isn't. Obviously, it is so easy to corroborate. All you have to do is look at the DoorDash records, grab their app, and find out, did you have a delivery on this date? Was it you? Show me. So some random person with nothing better to do put together this reenactment. So let's see. And this is a cold reaction to this.
Cameras show him leaving the neighborhood and exiting on Walenta Drive in this direction. It's uncertain which way he went from this point here, but we know that he is seen here at this location at 3:45 a.m., caught on a gas station security camera. We see the suspect re-enters.
Actually, this is pretty good.
The neighborhood at 4:04 a.m. He drives up to the house and slows down. Looking at the windows, he sees the lights are now off. Continuing to the back, he checks to see if those lights are off. They are. He's excited.
This is actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting much from this.
He knows everyone is finally in bed, but he wants to check the front one last time. As he drives down, he's filled with adrenaline, seeing the lights are all off. His brain short circuits for a second as he clumsily tries to turn around in front of the house. It fails, but he regains composure and drives on. He's caught on camera making a 3-point turn at the end of the street to return back to the residence.
I'm telling you, this movement, and all this is documented. This is stuff that you can garner from the affidavit, right? And from the cameras.
He does his final drive to the back of the house. In the beginning, most of us believed the 2 surviving roommates, Bethany and Dylan, were sleeping on the first floor. Since then, we've learned Dylan was sleeping here on the second floor, along with Xana and Ethan located here. Kaylee and Madison were located here on the 3rd floor. The dog was located on...
So this gives you a much better... I like this, actually. But this is just done by some random person. But I think it gives you a good idea of the makeup of the case.
On the 3rd floor, and the room by itself. Let's move around and see through the walls, into the kitchen, to the back slider, and take a look at the time frames. At 4:04 a.m., the suspect can be seen trying to park his car. At 4:09, approximately 5 minutes later, he enters the house through the back slider. At 4:18, he leaves the house after committing the crimes. At 4:20, he's caught on camera driving away at a high rate of speed. All of this only took 9 minutes. Let's watch what that looks like. The suspect enters through the back sliding door. He pauses at the stairs to look around to make sure no one's up. He then turns and goes upstairs.
How would he know where to go or what to do? Has he been in that house before?
The first bedroom he stops at and opens the door. He sees no one there. He continues to the next bedroom. Here we know what happens. Downstairs, Dylan is sleeping. The noise from upstairs wakes her up. She thinks it's Kaylee playing with her dog. She gets up and goes to the door and looks out. She sees nothing there. The suspect then continues down the stairs about 3 minutes later. He then heads to Xana's room. Outside, there's a security camera picking up some whimpering, cries, and a thud at 4:17. We've learned that Xana was found on the floor, which might explain the thud. Dylan again hears something and looks outside her door. She sees the suspect. He walks right past her and leaves.
So why did he let her live? That's actually an incredible simulation. And I would hope that the prosecution would use something like that. So then, you look at all the evidence, like the text messages between them. No one is answering. I'm really confused. Kaylee, what's going on? Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Xana was wearing all black. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. Shut the fuck up. Actually, like he had something over his head, a little ND, whatever that means. BF, I'm not kidding. Oh, I'm so freaked out. So am I. My phone is going to die. Fuck. Come to my room. Run down here. It's kind of chilling reading those texts because that's in I hate to use the word real time. I hate that phrase, but it's while this is going on, you know? And to Kaylee, you know, please answer. To Madison, are you up? To Kaylee, are you up? You know, they've got the sheath and they've got his car kind of in the area. And they, you know, and the way they were able to connect his car is because there was a stop of Bryan Kohberger that prior October. And so cops were able to piece that together and they got his DNA. And then I think when he got actually caught, he was in Pennsylvania when he got caught. There's a defense motion out there, and that details the following call activity and social media access by the roommates, picking up hours after their text exchange and Funk last accessing Instagram at 4:37 a.m. Now, the defense filed a motion for alternative perpetrator. And one of the things, you know, you had the other car that was in the area, right? Well, it turned out to be the DoorDash driver. And you have, you know, BF and, you know, these people are not calling the fucking cops for like 8 hours after this happened. So, I mean, they're going on Instagram, they're calling their mother, they're doing everything but doing what they're supposed to do and calling the police. So let's listen to when they finally did call 911.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency.
11:55 a.m. So it's almost fucking noon. These murders happen between 4:10 and 4:20 in the morning, like 7-8 hours before that.
Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
I mean, obviously you're going to be so shaken up by this, right? And we don't know when they actually found out the other people were dead, you know? I mean, how do we know? I mean, I know they probably have given statements to the cops now, but
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
Don't you have it? Don't you have caller ID at 911?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some.
So one of our roommates is passed out. See, I mean, that mind you, they came in 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, ordering food at 4 o'clock. Probably don't get up until, you know, a little bit later, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're just kind of, you know, and they probably don't see the stab wounds right away, because stab wounds typically don't bleed out a lot.
I saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to.
This is why it doesn't pay to get shit-faced, honestly. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You know, my parents used to drink like crazy. Like crazy. Like every night they get fucking shit-faced, right? I don't know how they did it. And my brother was away hunting, and my sister-in-law was home pregnant, like really pregnant, way up north. So my parents went up to go watch her, you know, stay with her because she was getting close. Well, what do? They pour out the fucking booze. So if she was to break water and all of a sudden, they couldn't do anything about it anyway. So what the fuck? You know, you got to keep your wits about you. Honestly, it doesn't pay to get shit-faced. Once in a blue moon, sure. But, you know, you got to keep your wits about you.
She's not waking up. Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
So this makes more sense now. She didn't know she was dead until this moment. You know, somebody was in the house. Did I dream that? Or, you know, my dad woke up one night and he could have sworn there was somebody standing in front of him at the end of the bed. And we never really got to the bottom of it. And nothing happened, I mean, and there wasn't anything missing. But he swore to God, and we think he just dreamt it, you know? And what would you do if you saw somebody late at night? And then you go back to sleep because you're drunk.
It's a party house.
Well, that's the other thing. It is a party house. So who knows, you know, if it was just somebody, but wearing a mask?
Okay, thank you. Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Okay. Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Here's the party house. And that's the same house that you saw with the noise complaint. And I'm glad we had that video because that gives you kind of a flavor as to what we're, you know, where we're at. You know, and that recreation, I think, also did a really good job of that. But from the blood evidence standpoint, there's a profoundly bloody scene, said Joseph Scott Morgan, distinguished scholar of applied forensic science at Jacksonville State University. It's going to be a very complicated case when you go through the blood evidence. When you go to the DNA typing, it's a major challenge. I don't know what he means by that because you shouldn't really have to do any DNA typing of anything but the sheath. I mean, you know, unless Bryan Kohberger got caught and some of his DNA would be on the people, I suppose, but that's a possibility. So the police said they had gathered more than 100 pieces of physical evidence from the scene, along with 4,000 photos and 3D scans of the residence. This is Christy. She's Kaylee's mom. Let's see. Christy describes the first time how Kaylee was found. So this is a statement coming from Kaylee's mom. The side where Kaylee was up against the wall. As if you can imagine, Kaylee is in an upright position, sort of upright position, up in the corner, slumped. I mean, she was trapped. She described the bed. The bed was the entire room. You could barely open up the door without swiping the foot of the bed. And it was the wall. You know, the headboard was up against the wall. So that gives you kind of a, you know, an idea how she was kind of positioned when she was found. And it believed that Madison may have been the target of the attack. In detailed release, Ethan Chapin's leg was carved by the perpetrator. Chapin appeared, and this is, from one of the forensic reports, Chapin appears to have been the last of the 4 to be targeted by the killer. Sources close to the investigation told the outlet that he was believed to be asleep in bed before his death, that the perpetrator carved the victim's lower legs with a blade before targeting Chapin. The attacker stabbed Kernodle, who was still awake after ordering food from DoorDash, sources say. So these are photos of them bringing mountains of evidence out of the house. And look at the blood. Just the crime scene was so gruesome that blood was seen leaking out of the wall of the home. Fuck. These are tough cases because you're not dealing with anything that would justify the killing, right? This is just cold-blooded murder. Serial murder at that. Because it's, when you have a case where, I love a good murder case, but where there's justification. I'll give you an example. I tried a case once where my client was at a bar with a buddy, and they were talking, and it was at the VFW in northern Minnesota. And these guys come in from the college, they get shit-faced, and the bouncer says, okay, or the head of the bar says, can you ask my client, can you and him escort this guy out of here? And I said, sure. So my client had him by the hands. The other guy had him from behind, and they pulling him out. He wriggles free. He's going to punch my client, and he's outside the bar at this point. My client pushes him like this, falls back, hits his head, and he dies 5 days later. My client was charged with second-degree intentional murder. Way overcharged. Jury acquitted in like a half hour. But the thing about it is you don't have the yuck factor in that case, right? I mean, he wasn't sympathetic. These are people laying in their beds. They're sympathetic. And when you have sympathetic people like that, as a defense lawyer, you're starting out in a hole. You have to try to prove that it wasn't you. Not that it was you and you had a good reason, it just wasn't you. And how are you going to explain your car being there at the time of the murders? How are you going to explain that? There's no way to explain that. There's no good reason for that. So the investigations began with canvassing security and traffic footage and led to the white Hyundai Elantra. Police issued a nationwide BOLO, or be on the lookout, and the database identified over 22,000 white Hyundais in the area, Elantras. 22,000. So this is what led to Bryan. First, Bryan's car matched the description. Police noticed that Kohberger changed his license plate 5 days after the murders for Pennsylvania to Washington plates. Cell phone data shows Kohberger's phone was turned off during the time of the murders. However, before and after the killings, his phone pinged near the victim's house 12 different visits, usually late at night or early in the morning. That's a problem. While driving cross country with his dad, he was pulled over twice in 9 minutes. The FBI reportedly was tracking Bryan and pulled him over to ensure he was the actual owner of the vehicle and get images of his hands. They pulled him over a second time so quickly to ensure they had good images of his hands on their body camera. He probably thought once they let him go that he was in the clear. Here's one of the first of the 2 traffic stops. And by the way, what is flight? Consciousness of guilt.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay.
He has no clue that they're on to him.
Cool. Where are you headed?
Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're standing early.
What's WSU?
University, basically. That is SWAT team and everything.
So I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University?
Yeah.
And you're going where? Oh.
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're slightly punchy because we're driving for hours.
Hours, days.
Hours to drive. Well, almost.
That's a guy who, I mean, now he's got the presumption of innocence, right? In a courtroom, not here. But how chilling. That's a guy who supposedly just murdered 4 people. And Dad's just sitting right next to him. Dad's got no fucking clue.
Okay. And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
Yeah, there was a mass shooting and everything. We don't know if it's a mass
Where?
All right, there's a shooting. You know, if I make something sensational, then it'll throw them off because I'm nervous about this. I'll talk about that. Meanwhile, nothing could be further from the truth.
Interesting.
Well, it's horrifying because he's going to the university, you know what I mean?
So y'all work at the university there?
I actually do work there.
Oh.
PhD in criminal
Okay. Okay.
Well, they didn't pull him over for tailgating.
Exactly.
They had been watching him. So let's talk about the knife and the sheath. So it's a K-bar knife sheath recovered at the scene of the murder. The touch DNA was found on the snap. Well, you know what touch DNA is. I touched something, it's there. That means I had to have touched it if my DNA is on there, or it had to touch my body somewhere. His Amazon history, Mr. PhD criminologist, showed that he bought a K-bar knife months before the murder. Then in some damning evidence, his search history showed him shopping for a replacement sheath after the murders. I fucking went an idiot. Oh, I guess I gotta keep this knife because I just murdered 4 people with it. Oh, where's my sheath? I think I must have left it at the crime scene. Better get another one. How dumb is that? He's supposed to be this brilliant mind. Oh, my God.
Important to note, though, search warrants say that they recovered knives in his apartment, but they don't actually have the murder weapon.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So.
Well, it is interesting. If he purchased that knife, where is it? So some of the behavioral stuff that we got going on during the surveillance in Pennsylvania. First of all, you flee to Pennsylvania right after the fucking homicide? What is that? That's consciousness of guilt. During surveillance in the Pennsylvania, he was seen wearing latex gloves, cleaning his car thoroughly and separating garbage into baggies. He also fit an academic profile that gives, given that he was a criminology student. Months before the murders, he posted a research survey asking criminals to describe how they chose their victims, how they felt during the act, and how they got away. He reportedly wrote an essay in 2020 describing how to avoid contamination of a crime scene. A couple more things. Remember those bushy eyebrows that the roommate saw? The judge is allowing that testimony. Kohberger's defense attorneys noted that the roommate also constantly questioned what she saw, that her attention was influenced by sleeplessness, alcohol, and her opportunity to see the intruder was seconds at most. So they're going to really go after her credibility on the identification of anybody, which her identification of anybody isn't really really an issue in the case because there isn't really an identification. But what there is a timeline. And that timeline is confirmed by the DoorDash and by when she woke up. Allowing her to testify about bushy eyebrows when she couldn't provide enough detail to allow a police artist to do a composite sketch would be unfair and prejudicial, causing a jury to believe Kohberger is guilty because of his eyebrows, his attorney said. Well, that goes to weight of the evidence, not the admissibility of the evidence. But the judge disagreed. There is a large gulf between a finding that a witness is not competent to testify about what they personally witnessed and simply allowing impeachment by vigorous cross-examination. This is a matter for cross-examination, and the judge is right. Oh, look at those brows. Look at those brows. Aren't they bushy? They're certainly identifiable. The photo used as evidence, the smiling selfie taken hours after the murder, showing exactly what he looked like on the morning of the murder. Dude looks super creepy here. He really does look creepy, doesn't he? Looks like a fucking mortician. The FBI examined his phone and he found this photo. The data showed that the suspect's phone was in Moscow just after 9 a.m. before prosecutors say he returned to his apartment in Pullman, where he took a mirror selfie while giving a thumbs up. How fucking creepy is that? If he's really the murderer, that is just creep upon creep. The device contained dozens of pictures of female students at Washington State and the University of Idaho, including some linked to the 3 murdered women. Unbelievable. So what are his defenses? He's claiming alibi, said he wasn't there. Bullshit. He's also claiming possible psych in that he's got autism. That ain't going to go anywhere. And the judge has blasted these guys over and over again about continuance after continuance after continuance. So we think the trial is going to be sometime in August. And the defense has moved for an alternative perpetrator theory, saying it was somebody else. But they haven't been able to identify who that other person might have been. And without identifying who that is with a solid theory, the judge denied their motion. So they don't have the defense of alternative perpetrator. That's not available to them. So the other thing that's happening is the judge is really cracking down on leaks. You know, I think Dateline got a leak and some other news outlets have gotten a leak. We've seen this in other trials like the Karen Reed trial. You know, I don't know why people do this. I can't imagine the defense doing it because it just doesn't seem like it would help the defense. But at the same, you know, a lot of times it's like a stupid cop who wants to either be famous or get paid or just has an axe to grind. And so the judge is really cracking down on the leaks because it doesn't help anybody. All it does is create bad publicity for the case. And if you're a defendant, you're going to pounce on that, you know, or is it the defendant, you know, their lawyers, you know, intentionally leaking something so that, you know, they have some kind of thing to argue. Oh, it was them, judge. So he's really cracking down on that stuff. He's cracking down on the continuances. He's cracking down on the defense, you know, that he can bring. So he is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder. The judge ruled that they can seek the death penalty. So they are seeking the death penalty in this case. You know, Robert has got a random question here. It seems some cases when people get the death penalty, they are put to death quickly. And some people are on death row for decades. What determines how quickly people are put to death? I don't think the death penalty should be imposed, you know, without caution. And if someone appeals, you know, there's reinvestigate. You got the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, U.S. Court of Appeals. You got the U.S. Supremes. You got post-conviction. There's all kinds of avenues to seek remedies. That's why it takes so long. And it should take a long time. If the government wants to be in the business of sponsoring killing, you know, then the government should bear the burden of the heavy weight that carries. I personally don't believe in the death penalty because I think it's unequally applied to the poor. And I think the government doesn't do anything efficiently, including killing people. So that's just my personal opinion. And this is a circumstantial case. There's a difference between direct evidence and circumstantial evidence, right? If you walk out one morning and there was no snow on the ground the day before, but you see snow on the ground the next day, but you didn't see it snow, you can infer that it snowed. Because there's snow on the ground. That's circumstances, right? As opposed to, I witness a car driving down the street. So I actually see, that's direct evidence, right? Or if you have a video of something happening, like the video of his car in the area, that's direct evidence. But the circumstances, you know, there's no video of him stabbing these people. There's no eyewitness saying he stabbed somebody. There is just a lot of circumstances. And what the prosecution's going to do is, you're going to build this case brick by brick by brick. And before you know it, you're going to have a house. Now, there isn't going to be a picture of a house, but it's going to be a house built on circumstances. And there's a special instruction that the jury gets on circumstantial evidence, that there's no, the law doesn't prefer one over the other, direct versus circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is just as powerful and sometimes can be even more powerful, because you can also have the but-for test, right? But for his car being there, why the fuck would it be there? What is Kohberger's car doing in that area at that time? No good reason, right? I mean, he doesn't know anybody in that area. I mean, if he did, there certainly would be a witness saying, oh yeah, I met with Bryan at 4 o'clock just before he murdered these fuckers. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, and how horrible for these parents. You send your kid off to college. You know, oh, yeah, they're partying, they're having fun. You know, she's sleeping it off. You know, oh, it's a good time with beer, you know. Every time my son drank, I got fucking crazed with fear. You know, my daughter doesn't drink, and hopefully she never will. And just, I sent her off to school, and she goes for a run at night, and you hear these stories. You just hope to God she's safe. And you saw that video of Kaylee, you know, answering the noise complaint. Pretty girl, at a prime of her life, or just starting out, probably not the prime of her life, but, you know, just starting out, her formative years, snuffed out by some asshole. Is that Kohberger? I don't know. He's innocent until proven guilty, right? Give me a fucking break. Anyway, we'll follow this. You guys follow it. I'm just going to tell you this. I really appreciate all the well wishes, the gifts, the fans. You guys send so many nice things and well wishes. I just really appreciate all of your support. Everybody at our team here, with Nick and Robert. I called him Bob. Anyway, we really appreciate your support. So we'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. You know, my grandma's a subscriber. You know, she is. One day, maybe you'll meet her. We'll see you next time here in Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Sign up for Patreon. Go to CLR, Bruce Rivers, for all your merch needs. And we'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, police is at my god.